Various religious things happening. There were a lot of weddings which were happening in the country at that time. No, actually, the whole country had kind of forgotten that we were going through COVID-19. In various hospitals, crematoriums, graveyards, and other health workers who were telling me that steadily the cases were rising. I still remember that I was in Kumbh, covering the Kumbh Mela, and I was getting frantic calls from one of my source in one of the crematoriums. Suddenly, there has been like a lot of bodies of the victims which have come to this crematorium dedicated for COVID-19 victims. I had visited a graveyard which I have been documenting since I think when there were just one or two COVID-19 victims, and now there are more than like 700, 800 graves. Went to a few other hospitals, like the picture which you are seeing. It's a scene outside another emergency ward where patients are trying to get into the ER. They're just outside the emergency room. We saw somebody dying also there. These three people were, one of them was lucky to get the oxygen. He was brought in too late in a rickshaw, and he had actually come to this hospital. He started feeling a bit better. He went home, and then again he started feeling unwell. And by the time he came in, took him inside the ER, and within 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes, he was declared dead. These were the scenes which were happening every day. I mean, outside the hospitals, went to the crematoriums, and then I went to this particular hospital, which the pictures which you are seeing right now, it's called it's the LNJP hospital in the center, in the heart of Delhi. I have been to hospitals, to this specific hospital a couple of times before last year, and my last visit was I think a few months back when everything was much more settled. But when I went there, it was like a kind of shock for me. And my plan was to go to the ER, and then I usually go to the ICUs and the wards. But what I saw in ER was like, I was totally shocked and surprised, that because I was not expecting these kind of scenes in a facility which is one of the biggest facility, one of the best facility for COVID-19, where people were sharing beds. These scenes were something which you don't never imagine that you will be capturing in your own city, because these are like totally extraordinary scenes. I was coming back from somewhere, of course, from one of my assignments, and then I got to know about this Gurdwara or a Sikh temple which was offering oxygen. In Delhi was going through a massive oxygen crisis, and they had just these volunteers of one of the NGOs were trying to source in oxygen cylinders and just putting in, stabilizing patients who needed oxygen, and just putting from one patient to another. And this was a gentleman who had come with his mother, and she was lying in the back of the car, and he's just trying to fan her, and she was getting oxygen. Again, I saw a couple of people who couldn't make it because the oxygen dipped really low. It was amazing, like how people from every walk of life were trying to help each other. So this story has shown us the best of humanity, and not so best of the humanity also. I had been to this crematorium, and I knew it very well that the victims' bodies were never cremated there. They were always cremated in a covered area. They had to expand because there was just too many of them, and they had to break the wall of one of the parking so that they can get in more wood, more people. I had to give this picture the aerial perspective, because this is the only way to showcase the kind of tragedy which was happening, to showcase the scale of tragedy which was happening in the national capital. I just wanted to also showcase people, the relatives, and if you see the picture, it looks like there's so many things which are happening. There are a couple of victims which we are being brought in by relatives and healthcare workers. There are some people who are not even in PP. Maybe there are some other relatives. Then there's a cart which is bringing in the wood, and then there are these dozens of pyres. So it just shows like just a sad regular day during the second wave. And nobody expected that these kind of things would be happening in Delhi, which has the best healthcare system in the country. That is one of the most important parts of the story, because these are just not the numbers, they are people.